Hi everyone, so I'm just going to jump right into this. First I will start with the meninges, and it was kind of difficult to remove these three layers on the brain that I received, so I'll just talk about them. They are basically protective layers that surround the brain and the spinal cord, and here is the outer, more tougher connective tissue layer, which is known as the dura mater. The middle layer is known as the arachnoid mater, and the inner layer is known as the pia mater. Next, the larger portion of the brain is known as the cerebrum, and on the outside you are able to identify sulci and gyri. And here the sulci is all the different grooves, or the gray lines essentially, and the gyri happens to be the ridges, the space between them. And also the outer portion is known as this cortex of the brain. Located inferior to the cerebrum is known as the cerebellum, which is also known as the little brain. And this is the part of the brain that controls muscle coordination and balance. Also on the outside of the brain, you're able to identify white and gray matter. And white matter, it's pretty easy to identify, obviously. And white matter, it's bundles of myelinated axons within the brain and spinal cord. And gray matter contains cell bodies, dendrites, and unmyelinated axons. Okay, next we'll take a look at the medulla, which is located right here. And this happens to be the most inferior portion of the brain stem. And this part of the brain is the center for respiration, circulation, blood pressure, and heart rate. It also includes reflex centers that control sneezing, coughing, hiccuping, etc. And the midbrain is located between the pons and the diencephalon, located right here. The pons are located anterior to the medulla, and this contains nerve tracts that connect the cerebellum with other parts of the brain and spinal cord. The pons are located here, the lower part of the brainstem also. The olfactory bulb was kind of another difficult one to identify, but this contains cell bodies of neurons that synapse with neurons of the olfactory nerves. I believe I placed that one up along here. This X-shaped structure results from the right and left optic nerves crossing over each other and is known as the optic chiasma. I was able to locate the third ventricle right here. And there are a total of 4 ventricles or cavity in the brain, which are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Here is the choroid plexus, and its function is to produce the cerebrospinal fluid. The corpus callosum is a large band of nervous tissue that connects the two cerebral hemispheres. Pardon me. Okay, now the hippocampus right here is below the lateral ventricles, and it has to do with converting short-term memory to long-term memory, and also deals with emotional stress. The hypophysis is a pituitary gland that controls several endocrine glands. And the hypothalamus, located right there, controls our body temperature, fluid balance, and appetite. The thalamus, on the other hand, is part of the diencephalon and serves as a sensory relay center. Most sensory nerves enter this region. The diencephalon is what makes up the area of the thalamus and hypothalamus. The pineal body, located right here, is an endocrine gland that secretes melatonin. And finally, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves that leave the brain.